All right, are we ready for another story? We're going to be doing one of my favorite stories, Rosie, Revere, Engineer. So this story it's a little bit longer. It's maybe for some older kids, but little kids can listen along too. And it's all about that perseverance and trying and never giving up. And there's so much talk these days about STEM programs, and girls can do it too, that I think this is a great job to encourage not just girls but all kids to kind of work hard at their dreams and never to give up. A lot of depth just for a story, but it's a good one. Are you ready? Let's get a little bit closer. Okay, here we go. This is the story of Rosie Revere, who dreamed of becoming a great engineer. In Lila Greer's classroom at Blue River Creek, young Rosie sat shyly, not daring to speak. This is our friend Rosie right here. But when no one saw her, she peeked in the trash for treasures to add to her engineer's stash. And late at night, Rosie rolled up her sleeves and built in her hideaway under the eaves. You might want to go through recycle bins and see what you can find and see what you can make. There's lots of time at home to be building and dreaming and trying all sorts of stuff, with Mom and Dad's permission, of course. Alone in her attic, the moon high above, dear Rosie made gadgets and gizmos she loved. And when she grew sleepy, she hid her machines far under the bed, where they'd never be seen. When Rosie was young, she had not been so shy. She worked with her hair swooping over one eye. There she is. And made fine inventions for uncles and aunts, a hot dog dispenser and helium pants. She definitely has a good imagination. The uncle she loved most was zookeeper Fred. She made him a hat to keep snakes off his head, from parts of a fan and some cheddar cheese spray, which everyone knows keeps the pythons away. Did you know cheese kept pythons away? And when it was finished, young Rosie was proud. But Fred slapped his knee and chuckled out loud. He laughed till he wheezed and his eyes filled with tears. Have you ever cried so hard or laughed so hard you cried? All to the horror of Rosie Revere, who stood there embarrassed, perplexed, and dismayed. She looked at the cheese hat and then looked away. I love it, Fred hooted. How truly I do. But Rosie Revere knew that could not be true. She tucked the cheese hat on the back of her shelf, and after that day kept her dreams to herself. It's hard when somebody laughs at you and you've tried really hard. Doesn't feel very nice, does it? And that's how it went until one autumn day, her oldest relation showed up to stay. Her great-great-aunt Rose was a true dynamo who'd worked building aeroplanes a long time ago. She told Rosie tales of the things she had done and goals she had checked off her list one by one. She gave a sad smile as she looked to the sky. The only thrill left on my list is to fly. But time never lingers, and long as it seems, I'll check that one up to an old lady's dreams. She's just never gonna fly. She did lots of other things, but doesn't think she's ever gonna fly. That night, as Rosie lay wide-eyed in bed, a daring idea crept into her head. Could she build a gizmo to help her aunt fly? She looked at the cheese hat and said, no, not I. Have you ever stayed awake at night because you got so many ideas in your head? But questions are tricky, and some hold on tight, and this one kept Rosie awake through the night. So when dawn approached and red streaks lit the sky, young Rosie knew just how to make her aunt fly. Oh, she's got an idea. She's gonna try it. She worked and she worked till the day was half gone, then hauled her cheese copter out into the lawn to give her invention a test just to see the ridiculous flop it might turn out to be. She's not convinced it's gonna work. She's gonna try though. There she goes. Strapped into the cockpit, she flipped on the switch. The Hello Cheese copter sputtered and twitched. It floated a moment. It floated a moment and whirled round and round, then froze for a beat and crashed to the ground. Then Rosie heard laughter and turned round to see the old woman laughing and slapping her knee, just like that uncle did when it made her so sad. She laughed till she wheezed and her eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who thought, oh no, never. Not ever again will I try to build something to sputter or spin, or build with a lever, a switch, or a gear, and never will I be a great engineer. It didn't work. What do you think the great-great-aunt's gonna say? She turned round to leave, but then great-great-aunt Rose grabbed hold of young Rosie and pulled her in close and hugged her and kissed her and started to cry. You did it, hooray! It's perfect. Oh, it's the perfect first try. Oh, first try. This great flop is over. It's time for the next. Young Rosie was baffled, embarrassed, perplexed. I failed, said dear Rosie. It's just made of trash. Didn't you see it? The cheese copter crashed. Yes, said Great Aunt. It crashed, that is true. But first it just did what it needed to do. Before it crashed, Rosie, before that, it flew. Remember at the beginning when it flew for a moment? So it did work. Your brilliant first flop was a raging success. Come on, let's get busy and on to the next. That's an interesting way to think about it, right? She handed a notebook to Rosie Revere, who smiled at her aunt as it all became clear. Life might have its failures, but this was not it. The only true failure can come if you quit. So don't quit. If you're trying to build something at home and it's not working, keep trying. They worked till the sun sneaked way to its bed, and Rosie tied her headscarf round Rosie's head and sent her to sleep with a smile ear to ear to dream the bold dreams of a great engineer. There's Rosie with her great-great-grandma's or great-great-aunt's headscarf. Aha! Now look at her at school. She's not shy anymore. At Blue River Creek, all the kids in grade 2 build gizmos and gadgets and doohickeys too. With each perfect failure, they all stand and cheer, but none quite as proud as Rosie Revere. All right, I hope you guys have fun building some gizmos and gidgets and what did they call them? Gizmos and gidgets and doohickeys. So if you guys create anything at home, we would love to see pictures of it below. Thanks for listening.